thank you for visiting us and encourage you to like and subscribe, or else. Oh, and if you feel the urge to comment, please do. Just remember, if you haven't got anything nice to say, good for you.
Black Widow's Peak. In the quiet suburban town of Widow's Peak, a new hair salon had recently opened its doors. It was called Silk and Shine, and its proprietor, Fiona Mercer, a dark, mysterious young woman whose body was covered in piercings and tattoos of skulls and spiders, was known for her dazzling hairstyling skills, and more importantly, her seemingly miraculous new hair product, Venom. Everyone in town flocked to the salon, eager to try the latest process that promised to nourish their hair and scalp like never before. There was a months-long wait list to get an appointment with Fiona and her secret hair-nourishing expertise that was guaranteed to result in the thickest, most full-bodied, luxurious hair regardless of the age or sex of the client. Outside the salon, it was an extraordinary scene with grandmothers, teenagers, and their mothers, even balding men, lining up before dawn daily hoping for a cancellation so they could have Fiona provide them with this incredible treatment. People were desperate, often skipping work or even paying others to wait in line and call them if there was an opening. Women had never known such thick, luxurious hair. Teenagers were able to wear the latest hairstyles regardless of their type of hair. Even bald men were growing their hair back and displaying full heads of hair. So what was Fiona's secret to enriching the hair of her clients? No one knew, but frankly, no one cared. It worked, and the town was filled with happy people on the streets and at their jobs displaying their luscious locks like proud peacocks. Fiona, with her warm smile and impeccable reputation, always advised her clients to follow one simple rule after their treatment. Do not get your hair wet for at least 2 weeks. In fact, the longer you wait to wash your hair, the more lustrous it will become. All her clients, trusting Fiona's expertise, were highly motivated and happily complied, eagerly awaiting the promised results which never disappointed. There even became lighthearted contests between clients to see who could wait the longest before washing their hair. At Widow's Peak High School on this dark and rainy day, the lunchroom buzzed with chatter as dozens of girls showed off their newly treated hair. They were delighted with the initial results, shiny, voluminous hair that seemed too good to be true. Especially with the prom upcoming, everyone was excited to get Fiona's Venom treatment for their hair. But they also were just as excited to finally get a chance to wash their hair now that it had been 2 weeks since most had been treated with Fiona's hair treatment. But as lunchtime progressed, there was a lightning strike knocking out the power in the entire school. At first frightened, the teenagers quieted down, and an eerie silence began to fall over the darkened cafeteria. It started with one girl, then another. Soon, almost all the high schoolers had small white shapes wriggling out of their hair. Screams of horror erupted as these tiny spiderlings began crawling out of their scalps and down their necks, shoulders, and onto the tables. Panic ensued as the girls frantically tried to swat away the spiders, but the spiderlings moved quickly, biting repeatedly with their venomous fangs before jumping off of them. The screams of girls and boys echoed through the halls of Widow's Peak High, drawing teachers and students alike to rush to see what all the chaos was about. But soon the teachers, administrators, even the formerly bald principal was grabbing at their hair and running through the halls screaming in a panic. Hundreds of the venomous spiderlings scampered out of their scalps for all to see. It was a scene of pure terror. Girls and boys clawing at their heads, their scalps torn and bleeding as the spiders hatched and bit. Blood trickled down their faces and necks, mixing with their tears and sweat. Teachers and students alike were thrown into chaos as the lunchroom transformed into a scene of pandemonium. Many collapsed, writhing in pain, their faces pale and their bodies convulsing from the venom coursing through their veins. Ambulances arrived swiftly to carry away the sickest to the hospital to be given the anti-venin. In the hospital, doctors worked frantically to treat the dozens of bite wounds covering the girls' scalps. Because it was caught and treated quickly, no one was seriously injured. An arachnologist, Dr. Victor Schneer, was called in to make an assessment of the terrifying situation. He discovered quickly that all the white hatchlings were Latrodectus hesperus, or baby western black widow spiders, which would turn black and shiny in adulthood and display the telltale red hourglass under their abdomen. Detective Marla Jennings was assigned to the case. As she interviewed the victims, a chilling pattern emerged. They all had one thing in common. Each victim visited Silk and Shine within the past few weeks. Armed with this information, Detective Jennings obtained a warrant and searched Fiona Mercer's salon. She asked Dr. Schneer to accompany her. What they found in the back room of Silk and Shine was horrific and beyond comprehension. Rows and rows, hundreds of jars lined the shelves neatly, each filled with the shiny black arachnids, all guarding their spider eggs. Dr. Schneer discovered other jars holding the smaller, spindly males she used to propagate and produce the small white egg puffs, each of which held hundreds of spider eggs. It was clear that these black widow spiders were carefully bred and nurtured by Fiona herself. Fiona was apprehended and brought in for questioning. She did not deny that she was responsible, confessing that her so-called miraculous hair product was a homemade poultice of extracted black widow venom, which was designed to hold the spider eggs close to the scalp, allowing them to hatch unnoticed in the warmth of her client's hair follicles. Explaining that she had always been fascinated by spiders and their venom, Fiona had discovered the remarkable effect of black widow venom on her own hair as she experimented with what she later called the venom treatment. She believed that she was creating a new form of beauty, one that embraced the natural world in the most intimate way. The venom of the black widow spiders was the most incredible hair tonic, but it also had the surprising benefit of rendering anyone treated with the venom-infused hair treatment immune from black widow poison. She said she was surprised that the spiders hatched and appeared during the day, as they are nocturnal and were meant to escape the heads of their hosts at night when their hosts slept, harmlessly escaping into the night. Dr. Schneer hypothesized that the gloomy, dark, and rainy weather, coupled with the power outage at the high school from the lightning strike, had prompted the baby spiders to mistakenly break out early, believing it was nighttime. As Fiona was led away in handcuffs, the town of Widow's Peak struggled to come to terms with the nightmare that had unfolded. Weeks, then months passed, and the town slowly recovered from the frightening invasion, with most things returning to normal. What also returned to normal was Fiona's client's hair, once again drab and listless without having the venom treatment. And while some in the community demanded justice, most were still infatuated with the incredible results they all had experienced. Silk and Shine was shut down, while many longed for their former lustrous locks. Ultimately, the townspeople had a change of heart, and a petition to free Fiona was circulated. Every former client signed the petition to release Fiona from jail, as they all refused to press charges. Knowing they all were now immune to black widow poison, the townspeople decided that Fiona had actually done them a great service, not caring that the infestation of black widow spiders had spread beyond the salon. The spiders, once confined to Fiona's jars, now roamed freely throughout Widow's Peak, but they proved no danger to all the citizens who were now immune to the venom of the black widows. Residents found them in their homes, their places of work, even in their cars. But a strange thing had occurred. The residents of Widow's Peak exhibited a fascination with the black widow spiders, to the point where parents not only allowed, but encouraged their children to keep them as pets. Eventually, with help from the police chief and the district attorney, who were also clients, all charges were dropped, and Fiona Mercer was released. She happily went back to reopen her salon, and with a full understanding of the process, her clientele returned along with the spectacular results from the venom process, which worked again, reinvigorating the hair of everyone in town. Remarkably, the town of Widow's Peak had happily embraced the grim new nickname, Black Widow's Peak. It seemed nonsensical, but the terror had turned to tourism, and everyone in town benefited after their story made international news. The citizens of Widow's Peak were so appreciative of the new life Fiona brought to their hair and to their town that they would soon legally change the name of their town to Black Widow's Peak and elected Fiona Mercer mayor. With national and international coverage brought about by Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube, Black Widow's Peak instantly became a tourist attraction and travel destination for those intrigued by the spooky story that hit the news, as well as for those seeking a solution to lackluster locks. Tens of thousands of tourists visited throughout the year, but would make a special pilgrimage to Black Widow's Peak over Halloween. But there were strict rules, as they were warned not to touch, disturb, or take any black widow spiders as souvenirs. Still, many were arrested or fined until they released the town's beloved 8-legged mascots. Later, wickedly macabre bronze statues of Fiona were erected in several spots around the town square, complete with bronze black widow spiders. The statues became a must-have photo for visitors and their social media postings, and served as love letters of a sort to Fiona, who brought such great good fortune, changing Black Widow's Peak forever. And it was all through her weird and wonderful venom hair treatment that she introduced to this remote mountain town, which was now thriving. And so from this point forward, they all lived happily, ever after.